unrelenting desire to showboat, I now have several hundred terabytes worth of performance data relating to that latest model of rocket-powered hearse you're driving. Naturally, I shall be using this data to calibrate further challenges and trials. I'll see you soon, Detective. There's a lot more to come.
Identity confirmed.
Look at your city, abandoned in terror by those that fled, torn apart by those who had nowhere to go.
The generator's damaged. I need to bypass it and power the antenna directly.
Hello again, Mr. Wayne. It's...
Okay, so after we talk to Lucius, we need the Batmobile at a certain point in order to get the winch. But first we need to get this Riddler trophy and call the Batmobile at this point to destroy the fourth and final shield behind Panessa Studios. Now we're on top of the roof. There are a couple of trophies to collect. The first one requires the Batmobile in order to destroy the wall, and the second one will have to glide into a wooden panel on the outside of the building.
There were whispers after Arkham City. Some think you changed. Some think you
Okay, I'll promise you now that my gliding does get a little bit better when we suit up and we get the Grapnel Boost Mark II, and when we upgrade to the 3 and 4, but just bear with me for the moment.
Scarecrow's men are guarding the antenna. I need to evaluate the threat and plan my attack.
If that happens, this whole operation...
5 soldiers, all armed. If I alert them, they'll kill the hostage.
plan in case the bat shows up.
If I can separate them, they'll be easier to take down.
Cities be here. If you ask me,
So at this point we will grapple to this vantage point using an invisible helicopter, to which we say thank you, and we go down and take out these guys. Now I don't do the silent takedown and cancel using the explosive gel, or I think that's how they do it, which is exhibited on many other speedruns. I think you can only do that on PC, I'm not sure if you can do that on the Xbox, but that's another way in which people can speed things up, because every silent takedown I do here is a full animation. And after you take these guys out, you need to get to this point here, which will trigger the cutscene before we suit up.
well, Mr. Wayne, let me... Wayne Tech Immo... The liquid on... The suit's compatible. Speaking of which, the new... How's it feel, Mr. Wayne? I've activated the AR training program should you want to...
3 gunmen.
So once you have the suit, taking out these guys is fairly straightforward. You just do a fear multi-takedown on all 3 of them, and then position yourself at the hostage's feet in order to rescue him.
You said you were quick, but I never saw anyone take down 3-armed guys like that. Unbelievable.
You're safe now. I'll send someone to pick you up.
Thank you. Tell me you're gonna find Scarecrow. That son of a bitch needs to be stopped.
One thing that I like about this hostage is that if you're fast enough, then you can see him walk out of the building limping and then suddenly start walking normally, like some sort of Kaiser Soze.
I need to use both antennas to identify the micro and radio wave frequencies across Gotham. If I can find both frequencies at the same location, I'll know where Scarecrow is manufacturing his toxin. The radio and microwave frequencies point to Ace Chemicals. That's where Scarecrow's producing the toxin. Jim, I've traced the fear toxin to Ace Chemicals. That's where we'll find Scarecrow.
Impossible. I've had a team there ever since the evacuation started, just like you asked.
Crane must have bought them off.
So like I said before, I like to drive everywhere before I get the Grapnel Boost Mark IV. Unfortunately, when I'm gliding off, I do clip a balcony, which loses a couple of seconds, but I call the Batmobile as soon as I get to a road, and that allows me to drive up to the Ace Chemicals plant, at the entrance of which there is a Riddler trophy.
Oh man, it's him! Don't worry, he ain't catching us!
Any word from inside?
Nothing. We think there's a skeleton crew left in there, but they're not responding and the facility's locked down.
If they're still alive, I'll find them. They should be able to tell us what Scarecrow's up to.
What the hell?
By the way, this entire cutscene that's coming up, you can skip entirely if you do what Funerus does in his latest run, which you can find on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description below.
Oracle, whoever this guy is, he's assembled an army. I need a name.
All right. We've got something here from a black
speculation on their commander, though. The only thing sources agree on is his name.
There were 5 soldiers.
So thankfully, because we know the locations of the hostages, we don't actually have to take out these guys, we just have to go straight ahead to this position here. And this combat encounter goes fairly well, just the first 3 guys with a fear multi takedown, and the last 2 guys go down pretty quickly as well. I think I mentioned before the importance of getting a perfect free flow in terms of the XP, but if you get the perfect free flow and no hits, then that combined pretty much doubles the amount of XP that you usually would get if you didn't get perfect free flow and no hit. And that's very important because obviously with XP comes upgrade points, and of course this being a speedrun, you want to be as fast as possible anyway.
Gotta love their optimism. Your 60mm cannon will penetrate these heavily armored units, but it'll take a few direct hits to destroy them.
So for me, there were 2 main problems with this drone encounter. My first shot missed the sensor array of the first drone. The next 3 went down pretty easily, but I should have used the missile on the last drone straight away instead of waiting. I was a little bit cautious going over this bridge because I didn't want to fall off, but if you're confident enough, then you can just boost your way straight through onto the other side. So at this point you need to shoot this guy here and then this guy in front of the glass so you can actually escape. And now I'm going to upgrade to get the multi-ground takedown, which I'm not going to actually use now, but will come in very handy later on in the game. Pretty much every combat encounter from now on, which has more than 4 or 5 guys, will utilize the multi-ground takedown. And this is a upgrade which is carried on from Arkham City and has been universally known to be fairly broken. If you watch any other speedrunners, then you can see just how broken it is.
Stay calm and tell me what you know.
They've been running the plant for hours.
Have you found Scarecrow?
Not yet. It's worse than I thought.
How much worse can it be?
He's building a bomb big enough to cover the entire East Coast in fear toxin. Take your men and get out of here.
I'll get... You'll...
Hold tight. I'll get you to Commissioner Gordon.
Must have bruised that a militia tanks all over the city. Gotham is overrun.
So I'm fairly happy with this first combat encounter. Perfect free flow. I took down all but one of the guys with the multi-ground takedown, and then I took out the last guy because I didn't realise that he was the last guy left. I would use a batarang otherwise. For those of you who don't know, in a combat encounter the last person left will go down with 1 hit, so usually batarang. I have to admit that I don't really have a great strategy when it comes to the sword users. Usually I just jump over their heads and then hit them, and then keep doing that to build up my combo, and then do a basic takedown. So I mean, if anyone's got any tips on how to actually deal with these guys, then I'd appreciate that very much. So with this drone encounter I spent way too long trying to destroy drones using the Vulcan cannon. I'm not sure why it's a hit and miss. I have a feeling maybe if you use it for too long then the accuracy just goes downhill, so if you're going to go for the sensor array with a Vulcan cannon, then just do it in bursts, I think. That's probably the best advice I can give. But yeah, I spent way too long trying to destroy these drones with the Vulcan cannon, and at the cost of one of the missiles. which would have been helpful for the drone encounter, which will happen later on. This combat encounter is incredibly straightforward. A fear multi-takedown for the first 3 guys, and then hit the next 3 guys and do a multi-ground takedown. Clean and simple.
That's 2 dead workers now. I should have stopped this.
Batman. You shouldn't be so hard on Tim. He only wants to help.
Don't let your feelings for him cloud your judgment.
You think I want him out there in harm's way? I'd rather he stay out of it. But he could help you.
If Robin can't save those people, the fallout will be every bit as dangerous as Scarecrow's bomb. That's 3 dead now. These animals are going to pay.
We'll stop them. We always do, right?
Ground forces, Founders Island is under our control. Watchtowers and checkpoints are fully operational. I want attack units on Neogani now. Give me a drone patrolling every damn back alley.
This is as high as the elevator will go.
Yeah, this occasionally happens, but like all good mechanical problems, just give it a little jiggle and it should work. I should say now that there is another out of bounds trick which cuts out the entirety of that drone battle that we just did, and gets us all the way to exiting the elevator here. I'm pretty happy with the first half of this combat encounter, but I messed up my combo with the last 3 guys. I probably should have done a multi-ground takedown after hit 22, but instead I tried to hit a guy who was already unconscious and ended up punching thin air, stopping my combo and getting hit in the back of the head.
It's okay. You're safe.
Too late. I heard him.
Jim, I've rescued the 2nd worker. I'm coming to you.
What about Scarecrow?
He's in the...
Is it?
It's moving. How are you doing that? Who cares? I'm just happy to be getting out of here.
So this drone battle consists of 3 Rattlers and 2 Diamondbacks. I missed my first shot, but after destroying a Rattler, I have 4 missiles for the other drones, and now I can focus all of my attention at the aerial drone. After some shooting and dodging, make sure you place yourself near the exit when the drone has low health, because it can block your path when it gets destroyed. Also, you can avoid this whole battle if you did the out of bounds trick mentioned before, and then remote control the Batmobile to Gordon after meeting the 2nd hostage.
These 2 were lucky. Scarecrow's forces have murdered the other workers.
Bastards.
Take them back to GCPD, but be careful, Jim.